engineer that makes for us the most important nutraceutical that I've ever promoted. And it does three things that no other nutraceutical does in the world. Again, this includes all the other Me Too, try to copycat, but not the same nutraceuticals as the monoatomic Tesla-activated iodine called the NUTRIODINE. Number one, it literally creates mitochondriogenesis, making new mitochondria. Number two, it kills all known pathogens. Number three, it protects against radiotoxins, not just radioiodine-131, but all radiotoxins. And because it supports mitochondria, which lengthens lifespan, it reduces free radical load in your body. You can literally put it on tissues or take it internally, and it regenerates tissues like crazy. In fact, I tell people it's amazing. You can put it on burns. You can take it internally for your GI tract. You can, on the average day, depends on the day and how much I take anywhere from 30 to 100 drops a day. And people say, what? You're going to get toxic. No, I'm not. In fact, if anything, my body is pathogen-free. The pathogens, if they jump on me, if you could make a byline or what they say, the pathogens would be saying, not in this place. Get out of here, guys. We're all going to die. So the NUTRIODINE is amazing, and it's the only high-energy form of iodine that can knock off fluoride, chloride, bromide, which no other halide can. Besides radiotoxins, the nastiest toxins out there are what's called halide toxins, which are usually hydrocarbons attached to a halide, chloride, bromide, or fluoride. Many of the drugs, including Prozac, I call Kilyajack, and other mind-altering drugs, are actually salts of fluoride and some mind-altering serotonin reuptake 5 inhibitor of the enzyme that breaks down tryptophan. So people need to understand that when you're taking the toxic drugs from the Rockefeller Foundation that founded over 100 years ago and pushed the drug industry into the medical schools in North America, Canada, and the United States, not so much in Europe, they tried to, but there's still more freedom there in many ways. They have harmed the health of the population, and they've killed a lot of people. In fact, it's estimated that appropriate medical care at appropriate dosages have killed in the last decade 2.25 million Americans. That's a stat that's actually been published. So when we give you NutriOdine, we're literally resurrecting your mitochondria, killing all the pathogens, and protecting from all kinds of nasty things like scalar toxins from cell phones and Wi-Fi networks, and switching mode power supplies, and radiotoxins from Fukushima. That's only the start. And I tell people you're going to hypermineralize your tissues, you're going to express your genetics more avidly, you're going to improve brain circulation. We have people start NutriOdine, the first thing they tell us, number one, their circulation's better, their blood pressure drops, but they say, my brain's working again. What did you give me, Doc? And I'm only taking a few drops of this NutriOdine. And the reason is their astrocytes break up because they have 500 to 1 million mitochondria in their astrocyte, their brain cells, and they start firing again and creating a neural network, so their consciousness wakes up. If they have heart failure, they start saying, hey, my mitochondria woke up, my blood pressure is down because my perfusion's improved and my blood pressure is more normal. Of course, we want them to also take our other NutriMeds, cardiovascular, etc. But John, when you made this, you probably are surprised at how we're able to help people like in India, where you have the untouchables that literally are treating things like Pott's spine, which is tuberculosis of the spine, cancer, horrible skin disorders, burns, all kinds of nasty parasites that are present in Africa and India. And literally we've had reports back from missionaries that have used this to even pull people out of the schizon parasite that's actually intracerebral, and they're actually in a malarial coma, and it pulls them out of the feeding tube down their throat with 20 to 30 drops every 2 hours. It's pretty amazing stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's done wonders, and it is one of the primary devices used by the missionaries in Zambia to this day.
Oh yeah,
they don't have anything to compare with it. It just does wonders.
It really is amazing. So, yeah. John, when you did this and you realized that you're fulfilling a prophetic announcement by Edgar Casey, we're at the time now where I call a time of a mitochondrial apocalypse. If you want to look on the biological side rather than just the geopolitical and financial, we're at a time when basically we're in the front edge of an extinction level event that damages mitochondria of all living things. The desertification of the North Pacific Ocean is the destruction of mitochondria of all the vertebrate and invertebrate organisms there. The protection for people to have a normal baby and not have, cretinism, which is basically thyroid deficiency, or if you want your gland to grow back, you want to take mitothyroid and NUTRIODINE, Minerals Plus, Mineral Max, and selenium cruciferate, you need to have NUTRIODINE in order to regrow new mitochondria. And if you have old mitochondria, they're like old engines that are firing off sparks that can literally burn up your cells. So you need to be able to have what's called mitochondriogenesis and mitochondrial apoptosis. In other words, the body gets rid of old damaged mitochondria and replaces it with new healthy mitochondria that are not going to generate free radicals. And without NUTRIODINE, you can't do that, can you?
You cannot. It's essential for the body. It works so well. The body does produce a bit in the thyroid, but we're supplying much more of the monatomic iodine to the body, and it's able to use it, and definitely so.
I've had scrapes and bumps that would take weeks to heal, and I put it on, and literally the next day I say, my gosh, that looks like it's almost healed, and it's been the next day. You know, I'm 63 and a half. I'm thinking, how can it heal faster than when I was a teenager with NutriOdine on an area that I thought, my gosh, that's almost healed, and it's only the next day. And you hear these stories all the time, don't you? I tell people, put it in your HydroFloss machine for dental irrigation to prevent plaque. Put it in your Sinupulse Elite or your Omron for inhalation for lung disease, cystic fibrosis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, asthma, which we now know is usually a chronic infection, things like rhinovirus subclass 3 with leukotriene D4 and B4. When you start using NutriOdine on your scalp, if you've got pityriasis ovale causing scalp balding from chronic fungal infections, we use it for sinus irrigations, and it clears out the fungal balls and the mycobacteria and the pathogenic viruses. People say, my allergies are gone. What happened? So I tell them the primary clearer is NutriOdine. Then I tell secondarily use Allison Med orally and take the Silver 100 spray. But NutriOdine is number one. It's amazing. It's amazing, and I get a kick out of some people. They get upset by trying to compete with Dr. Bill's nutraceuticals, but our top one is NutriOdine. And we have some pretty amazing stuff. I call 7-star, several hundred 7-star nutraceuticals, but this is like a 12-star. It's like, oh my gosh. And I tell people, if you want to stockpile something that'll be even more valuable than gold, stockpile a pile of NutriOdine when plagues start flying and radiation's flying and people are getting sick and they're getting nutritional deficiencies and all the other things that are happening. Our people are being force vaccinated, they want to detox. Guess what? The very first step is NutriOdine. Yes. It's amazing.
Absolutely, and definitely for your children, grandchildren, they need this. Even the elderly definitely can use this. NutriOdine for so many purposes.
And your pets. I have my little doggy is, I call him our 911 dog, Max, M-A-C-S. He's a Scottish West Highland White Terrier. And he's 14 years old this last July 10th. And he's healthy as a pup. I mean, when recently had him examined, it's like, this dog is like super dog. And periodically I'm giving him his NutriOdine. I will probably put some water and put it in his water dish. And he gets fed well. I mean, he gets what I call our good food, which is not scrap foods. It's not just scraps, it's good, on top of his high quality organic dog food, but he gets NutriOdine in his dish and in his water, and that makes a big difference. It kills off things like parvovirus B19, Lyme, any kind of nanobacteria, all kinds of nastiness that can affect your pet. And a lot of times the veterinarian won't say, well, they won't say what it is. If they did do advanced immunology testing, they say, oh, he's got this half a dozen pathogens in him, and that's why the dog died. They got arthritis, they got heartworm disease or parasite or something. Well, NutriOdine will keep them clean of all this junk. Better than taking a ton of vaccines, because all vaccines do is create antibodies that tag the parasite or pathogen so your body's immune system can attack it. So stay right there. If you have questions on NutriOdine, John's here to answer your questions. 800-259-5791. And at the bottom of the hour, we have a special guest, Pete FETTIG, talking about KARATBARS, gold, and an amazing new multi-line business. You need to get involved right now. We'll tell you how. Back in a moment with John. And welcome back. And John, let's talk about some other things. One of the technologies I have, and I was playing over the weekend with our new upgraded Bioplasm Pro and Bioplasm Expert. I can do actually a thing called a Vegeto test and actually look at the spectral pattern. I've also been rigging together some special cables to download and do the frequency analysis of the spectra, which I'm as I said, my studio is also my laboratory. I have lots of fancy technology and equipment here. Electronic equipment, all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff that I've been working on projects for sometimes for years. And what's neat about it is you can actually do a spectral analysis. NUTRIODINE is very, very unique. What happens is people don't understand that molecules, the way they work in the body actually can only use monoatomic forms of minerals in the active site of enzymes. It can only use a monoatomic form of iodine to activate and create new mitochondria. It can't use a diatomic form. It has to split it and create a stable, higher energy form, and the body has a minimal capacity to do this that exports not only T4 and T3, but also monoatomic iodine in its plasma forms. And the thing is that plasma forms of iodine you want to keep them away from sunlight and away from heat, because it will unstabilize them. And if you do so, and again, I tell people keep the bottles upright, put them in the refrigerator, and keep them away from sunlight, and they're good for decades. And I will often recommend that if you can, you want to put them in a little Faraday cage box, because you don't want them to be affected by pulsed or external magnetic fields, etc. You actually use a very powerful field to actually induce the monoatomic state, and it's very stable once it's actually induced with that higher energy level, but it's very complex to do it, and it's extremely dangerous too. So, other people try to pretend that they've actually reproduced this technology, but they haven't, have they, John?
No, they have not. We're unique in that. We have the only patent and the only process for doing that. No one else has that available.
Now, one of the things that we're approaching this from multiple points, and I'll use a little Imagineering here, just like Disney Corp, but we're approaching what's called the singularity, not only of intelligence, but the singularity of zero senescence, which means that physical aging doesn't need to occur anymore. And we're probably no more than 5 to 20 years away from that. That's with our panels of top experts in the Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine with Dr. Ron Klatz. One of the major steps is to create new or stronger or regenerate mitochondria. It's called mitochondrial genesis, and mitochondrial protofection is the fancy technical term. Protofection meaning you overcome things like free radical damage, genetic damage, cross-linking of the ring chromosome, and prevention of DNA polymorphisms of the specific subgenes within the very relatively small genome of the mitochondria. If your mitochondria fail, 95% of the energy in your cells also fails, and you can't literally metabolize most of the enzymes. You can't activate the production of proteins, both structural and enzymatic proteins. You can't get stem cells working. The other thing, of course, is extracellular matrix, and we're doing work on that with Mountain Red Velvet, and I'm also be working in the next few years on surgical versions, both intravenous, surgical strips, and granules for surgeons to use in organ transplant or in regeneration of organs using intravenous, and pulse energetic technology like micropulse and morphogenic field therapy. I built actually a morphogenic field machine back in the early 1980s and got U.S. patents on it at that time. And I presented a paper, but I never published it because I didn't want it to be turned into a weapon.
Right.
But what happens is that the NUTRIODINE is extremely key to try to what I call mitochondrial protofection. You live as old and as well as your mitochondria. And if I was to say what's the most important thing to prevent mitochondrial degradation as you get older, it's NUTRIODINE. So if your grandpa's dragon, or if he's got cancer and you're trying to fight it off, because remember, cancer is an infection. If I was to make one statement of what cancer is an infection. It's an infection with one or more pathogens in a tissue that's toxic, and the tissue is under stress, so it switches on and off genes, and you get a number of gene changes, up to several hundred, that are caused by the presentation of intracellular toxins and intracellular pathogens, mycobacteria, fungi, viruses, and psittacosis, etc. And when you kill off the pathogens, when you raise what's called the redox potential, the electron density, and the energy potential in the tissue, disease can't even be expressed. It always is expressed in what's called a low redox state. So taking NUTRIODINE is like a universal, if you want to call it, anti-pathogenic, anti-disease state nutraceutical. In other words, it raises the energy level of the tissue, it kills off the pathogens, it restores what's called the epigenetics to express your proper genes, and it allows you to have the energy to create structural proteins and enzymes. So the redox state is extremely important, and you probably notice that people start taking this. That's why we use it in India and Africa to fight cancer, and these people don't have anything. The untouchables, the Brahmin and the other classes of people in India are not even allowed to talk to them or touch them. And we have missionaries that go over there and they actually treat these people, and their primary treatment for their cancer and their pot spine with TB, etc., is NUTRIODINE. That's it.
It really is.
That's it. All they have when they come to the village, they have NUTRIODINE. They may have other things in nutrition to say because these people are necessarily malnourished or have other problems. But the primary thing that's going to get them better is NUTRIODINE. So what's happening now, of course, is we increase Fukushima Daiichi. All the nuclear reactors in the world are giving off thorium, tritium, other radiotoxins. We have switching mode power supplies that are stressing tissues, and they stress mitochondria because mitochondria are 30 times more sensitive to radiation and scalar entrainment causing damage than normal eukaryotic DNA, which means your cells are much, much more sensitive to damage caused by external toxins, radiation, and scalar entrainment by pulse magnetic fields. Your mitochondria are far more sensitive than the rest of the cell. In other words, it's the Achilles heel of the cell. And the primary thing that protects that is NUTRIODINE. So everybody, all your pets, everybody should be on this, whether you're young or old, or you're trying to fight a big infection, or you're trying to fight cancer, or you're trying to just get your brain to wake up, or you're trying to overcome heart failure, or you're trying to fight syndrome X diabetes, or you're trying to fight peripheral neuropathy, or detox your body from chemicals. You can't detox unless you're in a high redox state. You can't remove heavy metals. You can't remove chemicals. So, John, you're probably seeing all kinds of testimonials of people that are taking NUTRIODINE that have so many new applications, you'd probably never imagine that they would use it for all these things, right?
Yes, that's correct, Dr. Bill. New ones come in every day, and we hear more and more. The missionaries and ministers over in Zambia are using it. They're working with HIV patients, and they're very happy with the results.
In fact, we put people on NUTRIODINE, and we have people that have HDLV3, AIDS, hepatitis B and C, and we ask them to do a viral load to prove that it actually gets rid of the pathogen. They don't need a $10,000 a month drug. High-dose NUTRIODINE will knock off all known pathogens, and it goes through the biofilm like nothing. So if you're a biological dentist and want to knock off Nika or infections in the bone, you're trying to stop osteonecrosis because you had radiation treatment and you got too much radiation in the bones dying, you need to have NUTRIODINE. If you're trying to reverse heart failure or hypertension, and again, remember, it's your mitochondria and your blood vessel walls that are not working in your heart. And once you get those going again, the body regenerates itself. So, amazing. Everybody and your pets should be on NUTRIODINE. It is absolutely a miracle. Thank you, John. We will be back in just a moment with Pete FETTIG, and we're going to talk about the KARATBARS business, and Pete will be here with Michelle.
And Michelle.
Michelle just came in my studio. She's here for the dialogue with Pete, and your questions are welcome. The Nutrimedical report, the special, I would call the KARATBAR Gold part of the show, and Michelle is here in the studio. Michelle, you have a bunch of questions.
I do.
Let's get started. Peter's our UPLINE expert. Actually, he's upline of Ted Anderson. We're downline of Ted Anderson, the founder of Midas Resources and Genesis Network. And it's such a good and amazing business. I really want people that are Nutrimedical. We try to provide solutions like the wing generator for power. We want to generate, we call solid currency, so people have savings and money that's not going to be deflated or destroyed. We give them the best nutraceuticals to help their health. And this is going to be a major solution for a lot of our listeners to be, prepared to have real savings and a real business that will generate an extra income, because you not only get the amazing KARATBAR Gold, but you also get a MasterCard with real currency and real cash in it. So, Michelle, ask Pete all the questions you have to how do people get started in the business.
Well, first of all, I have to say, everyone knows me so well over the years here, but I'm excited. When I can't sleep, I usually get 8 hours sleep straight. I'm lucky if I get 4 or 5 since the KARATBARS, because it is so exciting. I'm the type of person, hey, Bill,
right,
that I get excited. So I'll wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and go, is this really for real? This is just so good for all of our listeners listeners, for all of our customers that you've been asking for years, how can we be part of Nutrimedical? Well, here it is.
Yeah.
You can be part of Nutrimedical. But my announcement before we get into Pete, the expert here, and I don't want to take up too much of his time, is, what, Bill?
Go ahead.
You're about to say something. We're getting a huge response already, and I know some of you are getting a little anxious, like, what are we doing? Have no fear. I haven't signed up anyone yet. I am keeping track and pages in my scribbler of everybody that's interested, the date and time that you called or emailed, so that you have a position already with our upline or downline, or whatever you call it. So not to fear, just keep calling and keep, it will be over probably tomorrow and the rest of this week where we'll be getting everyone in the system, ready to go, purchase your package and so forth. So, hey, you've called, I know, like this Mike, poor fella, he's emailed me, calling me and everything, like, am I on there? Am I on there? Yeah, you're on there, Mike. You know who you are. Not to worry.
Yeah. Now, the three things that I'm noticing, because I try to kind of analyze and break it down, that are unique about this, and I recommend gold and silver. We've been buying gold and silver for years. In fact, we used some of our gold when we purchased this home.
We did. We did.
What I tell people is gold is gold. I mean, a gram of gold back in 1920, and Pete had this analogy last time when we had him on last week, would buy, I think it's 20 loaves of bread. And $1 would buy 20 loaves of bread in 1922. Now $1 will buy you a third of a loaf of bread, but a gram of gold will still buy you 20 loaves of bread.
I think you stole that right from Pete.
I did. And I gave him credit, though. I gave him credit.
Let's give Pete a chance
so
to
Pete,
talk.
tell us about the business, the why this is so phenomenal, because you not only get to save fractional gold, but you also get to actually create cash in a downline business.
Absolutely, and I like to call it the a universal solution to the worldwide debt, savings, and currency crisis.
Right.
And it's actually a positive thing. It's not a reaction thing. It's a proactive solution.
Right.
And yes, there's a lot of people spreading fear and panic in the streets these days, and people are going jobless and homeless and what have you. But this is a positive thing that we can actually take control of and do for ourselves. We don't have to wait for government to take control, and in fact, that's the last entity you want to have in control of doing that, because they can't fix anything. Everything they touch falls apart. And likewise, we can't expect Wall Street to become uncorrupt. It's just not going to happen. And so this is a solution we can use to take control of our finances, preserve our wealth, save our families, and at the same time even earn some capital in doing that.
Well, Pete, I'm a practical person, as you may know, just from talking to me over the past week or so. And I would like you for our listeners, I know what it's like to be sitting out there and going, okay, what is this? What is this? I know how to be lost, right? Because I live with Bill. I'm lost all the time and don't know what's going on. And what I, for example, purchased my package, as you know, with KARATBARS this past week. Now I did my KYC, that's Know Your Customer, which is you upload your driver's license and utility or bank statement separately. Now my question is, when do I receive the gold that I purchased, and when do I receive that MasterCard that's earning me cash?
Well, there's a couple things you can do. First and foremost, the package can be purchased at any time, but it will not be shipped unless your KYC documents are uploaded and approved. Once they're uploaded and approved, then it takes typically 10 to 14 business days to have the package shipped from Germany.
Okay, and what's in that package, Pete? Sorry, what's in?
In each package, the ones that ship, the digital bronze is the only package that does not ship. You don't have to pay for shipping, but it also has no gold on board. It just has discount cards towards the future purchase of gold, and along with every package has that, and the ability to earn commissions in the dual team system. Every other package, silver, gold, and VIP, all come with at least a gram of gold. And they also come with the discount cards in an increasing amount of them. For instance, the silver package has 3% discount cards and 3 €100 discount cards, along with 6 15-euro discount cards, which are good towards specialty card purchases. So
yes, and go ahead.
I was going to say, so each one comes with a differing amount of, an increasing amount of discount cards towards the future purchase of gold. So the silver has a gram of gold, the gold package has 2 grams, and the VIP has 3 grams, as an example. And they do take priority in their shipping for packages, because KARATBARS realizes that people that are acquiring packages want to actually earn money and build the business.
And so what are you paying for it, Pete? When you buy these packages, the bronze, the silver, the gold, when you purchase them, are you paying just for the gold? How much money do you have to put out? Like, what are you paying for?
You're paying for mostly for the discount cards, actually, and a little bit for the gold as well, if there's gold on board. But regardless, the discount cards, if you take those and use them and buy gold on a regular basis, you're exchanging your fiat currency that is slowly becoming worthless on a regular basis for real gold money that is going to preserve your purchasing power and your wealth. And you get to spend it when you want, not when they want you to spend it. And I say they as parentheses, or quotes, I should say.
So if you're purchasing automatically grams of gold every month, you can use these discount cards against that so that you're actually not really having to pay for it, or is that as you go along in your business?
Well, it gives you a discount off the retail price. And, of course, if you start earning commissions, that will become a way that you can actually generate nothing out of pocket to pay for gold, to earn the gold, really? To acquire it. And so the people that work that hard are rewarded by being able to purchase or acquire their gold by use of the commissions that they have received by telling others about the program. And so anybody it's free to sign up. There's no cost to sign up. And if you want to earn commissions, of course, you get a package and sign up for, and anybody should be signing up for what's called the auto and special exchange, because folks, if you want to save your family from destruction, you have to have enough gold to be able to use it in commerce, and that's what KARATBARS is doing. They're building a network of savers that accumulate enough gold to use it in commerce on a regular basis. And on the side, they are building a network of merchants that are willing to accept the same gold as payment for goods and services.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. When we come back, we're going to hear, I have a couple questions too, because where I see this going is replacing the world economic system with one that's gold-based, that's going to be far more stable in the future. And welcome back. And Michelle, you have a couple questions. Go ahead.
I still do. Hi, Pete. I just wanted to finish off you were answering what's in the package. You already answered how long it'll take and what's in the package. What about the MasterCard? That's how you earn cash while you're doing this business.
Yeah, KARATBARS, anytime you earn commissions, KARATBARS loads a prepaid MasterCard debit card with the commissions. And initially, you can do it one of two ways. Either you get a silver package or above, like silver, gold, or VIP. You can actually buy once your KYCs are approved, you can actually order that prepaid MasterCard debit card yourself. Or you can wait till you earn the commissions. Either way, they're going to deduct about 21 euro or so for the cost of the card itself. And if you earn the commissions, you have to wait till you have in excess of 15 euro before they will load the card. So it will accrue. If you have commissions due, whether from the unilevel or from the dual team system, they will accrue until you exceed 15 euro. If you have the card already, it's only after 15 euro. Then you can load the card. If you don't have the card, it would be 35 euro. 35 euro because of the cost of the card is being deducted as well.
Yeah.
And the physical card they send out to you.
Yes, the physical card takes typically 3 weeks or so to be shipped from the date that you are qualified to earn the commissions. And there's a commission run every Friday, and then every first of the month. Every Friday is whatever you earned out of the dual team system, and once per month on the first of each month, any unilateral commissions that are accrued and exceed 15 euros are paid out and put onto the card.
And you use this card like any credit card, or is it more like a debit card?
Yeah, it's a MasterCard debit card, prepaid debit card, so just about anywhere MasterCard is accepted, you can use it. It's almost just like a Visa card or a regular MasterCard would be.
Right.
Okay.
Now, where the system is going, and I can see the whole direction of this because I like to see the vision of it, is that this allows people to save gold. It allows them to sponsor and build a business. So, for example, if you sponsor one person at the bronze level, get a bronze package, and they buy 1 gram of gold, which I think is like $55 a month, and they sponsor one person in that month period, and that person also buys 1 gram of gold on an ongoing basis every month, which is like $55. At the end of 1 year, what's the average income of a person that does that, reproduces that themselves every month with at least one person? What's the average payout?
Well, I'm told that it is approximately $18,000 per month. Now, that requires not just you to duplicate yourself each month, but also everybody that's coming in.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is, where I see this going is there are 24 currencies that are currently in trouble, another 14 are on their way. There's been massive devaluation, although it's hidden in smaller packaging and other things, and commodity costs are going to go up. So this is literally going to be replacement currency for all of the currencies on the planet, because you'll have Karatbar money by the end of the year. You'll have fractional Karatbar exchange, where you actually don't need to exchange gold, but it's actually backed as fractional gold. And you can build a business where you actually you don't have to buy a product or whatever. You're just simply saying, I'm going to reproduce this by having somebody else save too. So they're going to have a currency that can't be deflated. If the government, let's say, the euro has trouble, or the American dollar has trouble, or the Chinese yuan, which a third of their stock market in the last month went, Karatbar currency is not going to devalue. And that's what's really neat about this, is vendors, if they're smart, will want to pick up Karatbar currency, because then they're not going to receive payment in a devaluated currency. They're going to get something that's going to be stable.
Absolutely, and that's very important to point out. But first and foremost, you have to remember that people are going to have to go through a paradigm shift, whether they want to or not, and that is that you're taking fiat currency, which has zero intrinsic value, and exchanging it, not spending it, exchanging it for real gold currency that has 100% intrinsic value.
Right.
So
isn't the idea here that we're all saving gold? Isn't the idea to save?
Right. Absolutely.
The gold bars.
Preserve purchasing power.
Now we've saved gold and silver coins for years, and I think it's very important that people do that, but this is even better because it's a fraction. For example, you don't have to have a tenth of an ounce of gold or a full gold coin, which is now around $1,100-$1,200. You have a fraction of that gold, which means it's exchangeable. So you physically can get Karatbar cards, which actually have the gold embedded in the card, and it's all certified to have a certain value. That value is going to hold whether or not the currency devalues or not. It's my guess that the American dollar, which is the best of the currencies, will probably in the next 2 or 3 years be devalued 30 to 40%. This is the only way that the actual globalists can actually get rid of their massive super debt, is actually if they devalue their own currencies.
Absolutely.
Pete, I had this question yesterday, and that was from one of our customers, and the question was, how is Karatbars different from other multi-levels in the fact that it says it is not a multi-level?
Well, that's exactly correct. First and foremost, there are a number of factors, but Karatbars calls itself an affiliate-based e-commerce system. In other words, instead of having a dedicated truly in-house sales force, they're giving commissions to affiliates who show people how to set up their own free gold saving account. What's different about any other system like this that keeps it from being called network marketing or multi-level marketing is that there are no requirements. There are no requirements to buy the product to get paid. There are no requirements to buy gold on any kind of a regular basis in order to stay active as an affiliate. There are no website maintenance fees. There are no back office affiliate fees. And so since there's nothing required, they're able to show the authority in any given country that it is not network marketing or multi-level marketing. and nothing
Right.
against.
Which is why it's in pretty well every country on earth now. It's and we know that India and China are buying gold, and physical gold, not the paper gold, like crazy. So I think it's really important people understand that this is exploding. In fact, one of the things we've noticed is that they're especially when they're putting on commissions and websites, midnight in Stuttgart, Germany, it can be pretty busy on their website. Because, to be honest with you, this is a timely business that's happening at a time when currencies are having trouble worldwide.
Again, that's why I'm excited. I'm excited because our customers are getting in at the top, too. Even if it isn't a multi-level, it's great to get in at the top.
At some point, people will be able to pay for Nutrimeds with KARATBAR transfer electronic currency by this time next year.
Oh, yes.
By the end of the year. In other words, there'll be in other words, just not only paying MasterCard, Visa, or check or PayPal, they'll have KARATBAR currency transfers that'll occur so they can buy the Nutrimeds with their KARATBAR currency.
No wonder I can't sleep. No wonder I can't sleep.
Right. Which is a bit better in many ways than gold and silver, because you can't lug around a bunch of gold and silver. In fact, this is how the initial, we call the Knights Templar, the Jesuits, got started with banking. It's interesting we have a pope that's a Jesuit, because what they did is they would offer a note, and the note would indicate that then the person down the road would honor that note with the actual physical gold when they got to their pilgrimage to the Holy Land. What KARATBAR currency is goes far beyond that, gives you a fraction of the gold to electronically and safely transfer it. And what I want to see eventually is have this standard kind of linked up to electronic bartering that's fully encrypted, so nobody, including FBI, CDC, or governments, can do it. We can exclude illegal things like prostitution and drugs and other things electronically, so people can exchange currency for hairdressing or yards of concrete or medical care or dental care, and we can have a stable economic system that doesn't exclude countries or cause a lot of other things. What do you think of that idea? Because I see this as very, very exciting.
Absolutely, and you touched on one thing that I'd like to expand on a little bit, which is the fractional grams and the smaller size, and that makes it easier to carry with you. And remember that gold is not metallic, so you don't have to carry a pocket full of coins, which are going to be too obvious, especially in this dangerous world that we live in. It's a way to transact your business on an affordable basis for the average person, not just the rich and powerful. And so you can get much closer to the typical transaction value by carrying a gram at a time, or whatever you're planning on spending that day. And so that's a big factor, I think, that besides the fractional gold system is even the physical gold. It's a real system. You can actually hold it in hand, but yet it's pretty much undetectable.
Yeah, it's amazing. Pete, we're going to have you back for another full hour on Thursday. If you have questions out there and want to know about our KARATBAR gold business, and we are going to really help people build a network under them. Michelle is the chief person here. Contact Michelle. 212-8871.
That's right.
And Michelle will get you in the network. We'll help to build your business and train you and get you moving forward. It is going to be phenomenal. And
God bless you. It's wonderful to be here on a Monday.
Thank you, Pete. And thank you out there listening, everybody in Nutrimedical land. And get well physically with your Nutrimeds and get well financially with KARATBARS. Start today.